I'm going to the title card. Here we go now. I wonder if that will get a DMCA or whatever. You can't sing Backstreet Boys on your live stream.
Fuck you, we can't.
Would you like to show off your Vincent Price shirt? Hello, I'm Vincent Price. I was in House of Wax. No, not that one.
Technical Murray wasn't there.
Thriller. Anyway, we got kicked off Facebook because we're just way too real.
About the lodge and shit.
Yeah. Facebook was not down with some real opinions on the lodge, which basically were like, we like it.
They were like, no, get the fuck out.
Yeah, it was cool how those kids were just absolutely played their stepmom for a fool. Anyway, so yeah, the lodge was cool. If you were watching on Facebook live stream, there's the conclusion of that conversation. It was good. It was
pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it again, but it was free, ish on Hulu. So, yeah, super.
Watch The Shining or Hereditary.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it's weird. I feel like they have a call out to Hereditary in the beginning of that movie because she's got like the doll. And the kids, like, maybe
the whole dollhouse thing, that was a huge thing in Hereditary.
Well, but more directly, because at the very beginning, they're in the car and they're driving, and she's like, "I wonder if the doll's head will come off," and he's like, "No."
Oh yeah.
Don't pull the head off.
Not the head.
Yeah, something like that. yeah. I was like, all right, maybe I'm projecting, but that seems like you were throwing salt. Is that a term?
I think so.
That's a term now.
Yep. Throwing salt.
In the wounds. Or at people who don't like salt. What's up? Hey, this is the YouTube version of the Culture, Language, and Art of the Worker podcast. We are here. It's Thursday, May 14th, and we're going to talk about monsters. First and foremost, you peasants, or us peasants. The monsters that power fears, which is why when they built this country, they drafted its constitutional laws as such to keep you as far away from power as possible. As Alexander Hamilton referred to us, we the people, as the Great Beast. To be fair, like, he was a piece of shit. He owned slaves, and all these founding fathers who we love so much were just this like bougie merchant class that didn't want to pay tribute to a king, which, like, I mean, nobody does, but they were like, no, listen. Basically, if you want a summary of the Federalist Papers, it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to give you freedom by us owning everything and you not.
Yep.
Honestly, that's a terrible reading of that.
Let the king own all our stuff. Let us own all your stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically freedom. I mean, we could talk historic materialism and how that at least push things forward, but regardless, to hell with those guys.
Yeah.
So this whole, it's hilarious. Like, I'm glad Alexander Hamilton got gunned down. He was a piece of shit. He was a real piece of shit. He was a piece of work. He was a real piece of work.
Amongst a bunch of pieces of work.
Yeah. You know, you can read Adam Smith, where he's telling Alexander Hamilton, you know, not to, like, monopolize the textile industry, and Alexander Hamilton being like, go fuck yourself. And of course, we built this country on some, like, this country was built around us on some ambiguous notion of freedom that basically exists like a fog over a graveyard of, like, indigenous people and dead working class people and African enslaved people and, you know, children who died in mines and all the other crimes of empire. So, unfortunately, for the bougie merchant class, the who as now, I mean, they're the ruling class now, but we have our bougie middle class. Our bourgeois middle class now would be the professional managerial class, who, until, you know, really, like, the suburbs were settled, there was a frontier. There was always place to go. There was land. There was space. There were things to be captured, and capital to be swallowed, and there was, you know, empire to be claimed. But now there's no frontier. You have a precarious middle class, precarious, you know, petty bourgeois middle class, who doesn't have anywhere to put their feelings of precarity, except down. And, you know, these are the social conditions for fascism. This is the social basis for fascism. So watch out for that. We'll touch on that on another issue. I'm hoping to get into some Marxist political economy stuff tomorrow. Maybe that'll get kicked off Facebook. I don't know. I'm going to try, though.
Well, that's assuming they're going to let you on. You know, that title.
If I get banned from Facebook, so be it. I'm only there basically to like, reaffirm my belief that I just can't save everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like, you just gotta let it go.
I suppose it is good practice in that.
Yeah, I just use it to connect with people for our workers center, and to just, like, increase the and put out, you know, all the communist propaganda I can, so that by nature of the algorithm, hopefully you'll get some in front of you more often than you would have in your little reactionary echo chamber.
Who knows? Somebody might think about it.
Yeah, you know, some of these, like, middle-aged people or people we went to high school with that are, you know, have been pushed into reactionary political ideologies, or have kind of, like, malformed political ideologies, and no, like, no analysis of material conditions, and no real analysis of power. So they're just, like, swinging everywhere. And that's my main mission, is just to be like, no swing down, swing up.
Yeah.
no swing sideways.
This
either.
way.
Just up. Just punch up.
Yeah. But I mean, that's I don't want to go off on this tangent too much, but that's the point. Is consider something we were talking about the other night, right? Is okay. So we're in this crisis, and there's all this kind of existential dread on one hand, economic anxiety, and the latent precarity of whatever like caste you fall into, whatever class conditions, whatever forces are being acted upon you at this moment, economic or otherwise. And so it's it's all this energy. It's like a pack of wolves. We all have it. If you don't, like, there's something seriously wrong with you. Either you're totally avoiding the reality of this, or you're just so deeply entrenched into some alternative model of I don't know, processing reality that
leaves you just completely out of touch with it.
Well, I mean,
Like Jared Leto?
This is yeah, where you're Jared Leto and you were on an island.
Yeah.
You were
What
on an
happened?
island.
Can you imagine?
And you came back, and it was like, oh no, there's like a bad thing going on.
It's gonna be so weird to come back to.
We ought to check in with him because I wonder how he's doing. But because there's a lot of like in absence of class consciousness, what you have is this like culture war bullshit. So that leads to like progressive liberals, criticizing Trump from the right, let's say, sometimes, or it's Trump talking about the toilets or
the light bulbs,
whatever weird culture, light bulbs, or like I don't know, like how great McDonald's is or something, some stupid stuff like I don't know,
stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, like I don't know, like how like dishwashers make too much noise or something. I'm trying to think of like stupid stuff he thinks.
America, we have the quietest dishwashers. Ask anybody. We got the quietest
This man
dishwashers.
has ever touched a dishwasher in his life.
I'm just trying to think like when you're that fucking like out of touch.
Yeah. Like, what are your complaints?
No, like, what do you project upon actual, like, working class people? What do you assume is important to us if you're gonna wage a culture war, right?
They like dirt. They love living in the dirt. It's fine. It's cool. They like their dirt.
Yeah. So I honestly hope that he just absolutely like that he just has an intense psychological break and starts ranting about how like they should put cocaine back in Coca-Cola or something.
Is that what Joe Biden doing?
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing is I mean he's basically there. That's why they don't put him in public, certainly, and definitely not in any circumstance other than like heavily scripted.
Yeah, and even then he can't do it.
Well, I mean, it's tragic.
That's why they have a laser pointer, so it's like they're pointing at the script because the laser catches his eye, and then he's looking down at the paper.
Yeah.
And he's got an earpiece, so read. Well, they're reading the script to him, and he's just repeating it.
Yeah, I mean, it's elder abuse at this point. Like, it's just so... I mean, I don't like Joe Biden, so I don't really care. But at this point, it's just like, you are just the embodiment of cringe. Like, I hate Donald Trump, and he is a fascist, but at least he's kind of funny sometimes. No? Okay.
He is funny sometimes. Like, it's taken me a while to reach that point, though.
funny in a way that is because he's so absurd. The absurdity of that person with that brain having so much power. that's
it
what
sounds like a sitcom or something.
Yeah. Right. It's demented.
Yes, sure. Black comedy all the way.
Whoever's writing this reality, whoever.
Maybe we could look into injecting Lysol.
That's. I want to know where that comes from. Him just being like, I don't know, I don't know.
I think he's just so out of touch with reality that he's like, well, Lysol disinfects the counters. Why can't we just spray it in our mouths?
Well, he doesn't drink.
Yeah.
And so maybe, I don't know, maybe he ingests, cleaning chemicals. Maybe he abuses inhalants.
This is like if Charlie Kelly was president, or less.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely does uppers, allegedly.
And then he started to experiment with cleaning supplies.
Yeah, exactly. He's just sniffing paint. He's the Mad Max guy.
Eating paint chips off the Oval Office wall.
Right. That's how it starts.
These are delicious paint chips.
It's absurd. And I don't know. Just having that much power, still eating McDonald's. It's
you could have got Magoo.
Yeah. I mean, McDonald's is the restaurant equivalent of dropping your sandwich on the floor and being like, I don't have any more bread. I have to eat this sandwich.
And then you procrastinate for 10 minutes while you drink on the floor.
To sit there and convince yourself to eat it.
I've already committed to this, and I have no real
other
alternative. I suppose I do. But yeah. When you live with your back against the wall, who cares? To some extent, when you live in such precarity, correct me if I'm wrong, when you live in such precarity, danger is so relative. I'm only speaking for me here, but to some extent, it's just so somebody could be like, hey, I take coronavirus and shit seriously, but somebody could be like, oh, hey, I dropped those chicken nuggets on the floor. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. Just end it, man. Just end it. Whatever. It's a dance. Whatever. That's there'll be. It's always the person who does too many mushrooms, and they're like, I want this to end. Is this gonna be forever?
Am I gonna feel like this forever?
And I'm in the corner I fucking hope so. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Fuck Alexander Hamilton. He was a bitch. Allegedly. So, before we get off onto a tangent, tomorrow I'm going to try to address some Marxist concepts, do some political economy stuff. So I'll try on Facebook, but I don't know. I might just do it on YouTube anyway. I'm going to talk about the social surplus and the kind of pillaging of the social surplus, the wage fund, which is essentially your wages, your benefits, social services. I'm going to make some arguments that should include or does include the necessities of life, essentially. And we are being one way that they devour more of labor share value, social surplus, whatever, labor share profit, social surplus, whatever you want to call it, is by increasingly commodifying every aspect of our life, right? So we could talk about healthcare. We could talk. I think we're going to talk tomorrow a little bit about domestic work, and the commodification of that, beyond the lack of having being treated like work, being paid for it, which is a complex subject for sure. That might deserve its own segment. But if you take something like education, okay, so the commodification of education, especially like higher learning, this is a great way for a ruling class, capital, essentially, to commodify the process of not only educating, not only getting an education, but extracting more of that social surplus by requiring, commodifying the acquisition of these credentials, right? To like implant yourself in the middle class or the PMC, to rise out of the unwashed masses and join the petty bourgeois, with your McMansions and your jet skis and your power over your 15 employees or whatever. So we're going to talk about and how these things need to be truly discussed and understood, and how we can use this to increase class consciousness, not just amongst ourselves, but in the proposed middle class, and why that matters, and why we need to talk about things as an entire working class. So I'm not going to go off on that tangent tonight, but but yeah. So that's coming up. Anyway, so if we are this great beast, as Hamilton so eloquently believed we were, and essentially, like, this is the reason, just to contextualize this a little bit, this is the reason they deliberately keep, working people, your common folk, your populace, the general populace, as far away from power as possible, and why it was never meant to be a democracy. It was never meant to be anything other than like the dictatorship of capital, essentially. And we see that play out because they essentially believed, and this is played out. This is why Alexander Hamilton felt comfortable calling us the Great Beast and whatever. And people have a lot of excuses, but like Washington was a dirtbag, scum landlord, slumlord, very Trumpian, slave owner, beyond slave owner, like fucked up, and
yeah, he had black people teeth.
Yeah.
The whole myth about wooden teeth is bullshit. He paid slaves to get their teeth so then he could have fucking teeth.
Yeah. If you watch Django Unchained, the people who you revere and are on your money are worse than that Candy guy played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who you hate if you watch that movie the right way. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you're sympathizing with him or Samuel L. Jackson, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
You're missing the point of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, there were slumlords, imperialists, slave owners, and sex traffickers. Like, that's these people. We don't need to water it down and whatever. So let's take a deep breath of that.
Keep it real.
Just rip off the truth bomb. A big old rip off the truth bomb, and consider that shit for a second. While you hang tea bags off your goddamn hat and go invade a state capitol, you idiot. So, yeah, no, they're dirt and we need to get past it. But if we are the great beast, as Alexander Hamilton proposed, what type of beast are we? In the show notes, I propose we're some sort of kaiju because I think they see us as like some kind of like monolith or some kind of like, like amorphous blob of like.
Yeah.
We probably see it as Ghidorah, the smog monster from Godzilla versus Smog Monster.
I take it Godzilla defeats him.
Well, of course.
Bougie propaganda. I'm trying to think.
I'm saying like that's how they see us because he looked like just this blob, and he was feeding off of pollution and stuff. So just basically scum, and that's probably how they see us. Yeah. I would like to see us as if we were to name off like some famous kaiju, maybe like a Rodan, because it's kind of like a bird.
Okay.
But if I were to make one up, I would say we were like this giant eagle that's like the size of Rodan, like a rock but bigger. Rock, flag, and eagle.
Yeah. That would be cool, actually.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe. I don't know. See, there's too many routes to go. Yeah. Right? How do you even pick one? I like to think we're some kind of like.
I bet they think we're like vampires because like we're bloodsuckers and parasites.
Mm-hmm. Could be. When we know that it is the ruling class who are the parasites. Because I watched that movie.
And now I know.
Blade.
I watched a great vampire movie about that. It's called Ticks.
Ticks?
Ticks.
Yeah? Is that about like people who are nervous?
Close. Somebody's using steroid or growth hormone to help their weed crops, and they got ticks on their weed crops for some reason, and they became monsters. I would say that's what the ruling class is, a bunch of ticks.
Sorry, I just got a notification from Lowe's saying, we're hiring. Would you like to apply? No.
Thank you.
Yeah. I did see a fun picture from a Lowe's. It wasn't our local Lowe's, but some Lowe's of a woman worker there who had her mask like around her neck. And she was saying, like, they said we have to wear them, but they didn't say how to wear them, so, or something like that, so that's fun. Mm-hmm. My proposal would be that capitalism is the thing. I don't know what the name of that monster is there. It's like an alien.
They just call it the thing.
The thing. But because it incorporates all, essentially, it distorts all, it turns rather like, I'm hesitant to say like normally functioning, but like rationally functioning maybe, or naturally functioning, people and organisms and whatever into even like systems and social relations into like violence and horror.
That's actually like really perfect.
And you know, it's the dog that you love, right? That's now
Right.
like this octopus-faced monster.
Like Old Yeller. That's how that movie ends.
Old Yeller eats the kid. And then basically that's how this is all going to end, is we're all just freezing to death, exposed to the elements, slowly dying, and we don't know which one of us is the
monster.
Is the monster. Who's gonna reproduce this system?
I would say that's very astute. The only thing is I feel like this was like a projection in that movie where the thing got to the general populace and it's already happened.
Yeah. Agreed. Like it's
so many are infected.
Yeah. It's worse in reality.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell brought it to America, and yeah, no, but it's dynamic, right?
Yeah.
It has the ability to change, and it hides it under this veil, right, of like distorted social relations and I don't know, beneath like power that's misconstrued as like the social contract, things like that, or like normal organic social relations. I haven't fully fleshed this thought out, but I think like the more I think about it, I think about The Thing a lot because I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
Except the remake, which is terrible. We've addressed this before. We are anti-revisionist thing heads. Thingsters? I don't know.
Things?
Yeah.
Thingies.
Thingalangs.
OG thingies? You don't like that? Go fuck yourself.
But yeah, I think it's something like that. It is parasitic to some extent. At least the Thing monster, right? To some extent, it is. It has to manipulate the host, and it takes what it wants, and it has spread. It is in.
I got the thing up by my door.
It's in your house, Parker. Run.
All I got is a guitar to bash over his head. I don't have a flamethrower.
Give me your blood. I'm gonna put it in this dish.
Oh, he's the Thing, all right. On purpose.
I think again, like this thought isn't like fully fleshed out either, but like the idea that like you can know all you want about this thing, right? But if people aren't on the same page, and there isn't like collective action in solidarity, like it will perpetuate, because of the nature of like coerced individualism and fear and paranoia and all these other distortions of normal social relations or like positive productive social relations.
Right, and that's how it can win, because it just has to do that.
Right.
And it can snatch whoever it wants at that point.
Right. You know, like in the revolution, when the rev comes around, we'll be, putting the hot needle or whatever, that will be putting the flame to the blood. But then it gets out of the petri dish and reproduces itself.
And then you're screwed.
Yes. And then I think we've talked about this before, but climate change, ecological collapse is Godzilla, I think. Also, maybe nuclear war. I think some combination of the two, or just like it's representative of whatever human, essentially like man-made apocalypse.
Yeah.
What we faced out. It's gonna be one of the two, maybe both. But Godzilla is representative of that. So
yeah, representative of both sides of it, really. A force of nature, but also man-made.
Right. So if Hamilton was alive today, he's a stupid bitch, because clearly there are far more beastly systems.
Yep. But he knew that.
Well, not necessarily. There's a certain amount of like, again, why would he care?
Yeah.
Why would he care? You were nothing to him.
Mm-hmm.
You were nothing to any of them.
You spit on the bottom of my shoe.
You were worse than dirt to these people, because they could, I don't know, they could see a productive capacity in dirt, and you were an obstacle to be overcome for the most part. So it's hilarious that pretty much the majority of people are still, in America at least, are still walking around with this latent notion that like everything was figured out by a bunch of slave owners in the 1700s.
They had all the answers.
They were magically came out of their graves today. They would be very impressed with the system that they have built and how it's evolved.
Yeah, I mean,
they might.
It's debatable, for sure. They might be like, y'all are being way too above board with this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, they also, they openly own slaves and stuff, so they'd be like, why are you treating the black people with respect? Respect.
Yeah, and then someone would explain to them that, this is a system that subjugates all people equally, and they're like, you figured it out, or doesn't subjugate them equally, but it has no regard for life, regardless of whatever. Now that intersects with all sorts of social and economic things, but they would be like, you guys, you figured it out, you crazy bastards. Yeah,
I knew you future men would do it.
Yeah. You conquered the world. You did it, you crazy bastard. You monopolized it all. And then somebody would show them a cell phone and they'd like shoot themselves in the head.
So it's actually, so especially the founding fathers, but just the country, I think we're actually, and it's capitalism more than anything, is actually more like King Ghidorah.
I don't know that one.
Dragon.
The what? Oh, the 3-headed one?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are its special powers?
It had 3 heads.
That was it. Well, I mean, thanks to DuPont and Dow Chemical, there's lots of 3-headed things. I'm sure.
But, King Ghidorah is always a bad guy, and he's an alien.
He's an alien?
Yeah.
How do they explain that in, the Godzilla verse?
Yeah, he's just like this alien kaiju, and these fucking spacemen are always abducting Godzilla and his buddies and dropping them on a planet somewhere to fight them.
Huh.
Or he comes and invades Earth. And they actually touched upon it briefly, which I really liked because it had nothing to do with the fucking people. But in Godzilla King of the Monsters, they addressed the fact that, oh, he's a fucking alien. That's why this call isn't affecting him or anything.
Yeah.
And that's basically why one of the reasons why Godzilla went after him was like, oh, you're an alien. You're on my world. Get the fuck out of here. Also, the pissing contest. Alpha's going at it.
That's what I want to see instead of debates, because like I have this fear that we're not going to get debates now, and that's like
really
all I want to see between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
It would be so funny.
It like I need it at this point.
Give us something.
It's the consolation.
Just let me have this.
It would be so hilarious and like a funhouse mirror of like two men that perfectly represent like the worst parts of America, like the worst things of capital and
humanity in general, really.
And like like fake meritocracy and all this bullshit, right? And whatever like poisons are circling their brain chemistry, making them like hyper aggressive and fucking like Trump would say something about like, I don't know, like Biden's wife is beautiful or something, and then Biden would like threaten to fight him.
Yeah.
And then that would be awesome. But anyway, the point I'm like circling around without getting to is I think instead, since neither of these men are seemingly afraid of coronavirus to some extent, and certainly I wouldn't care if they were, because like feed them. I wish the economy was a dark god.
Make a sacrifice.
That we could sacrifice the ruling class to.
Yeah.
And because there are, those are the two people you start with for sure. But if we had the technology to blow them up to like Godzilla size, to Kaiju size, or like Pacific Rim, like Jaeger. Battle match.
I want to see that more than anything, but I just don't think their brains could handle being hooked up to a Jaeger.
That would make it even better, man. That would make it even better.
It will explode like Scanner style.
If Trump and Pence had to operate a Jaeger with like Joe Biden and like I don't know. I don't even know who he's gonna pick. As maybe instead,
There's been so much speculation; it's hard to say.
Instead of Mike Pence, it's Donald Trump and Donald Jr. operating a Jaeger, and Joe Biden and Hunter in the other one, and Joe's like inappropriately touching a sperm whale. With his side of the Jaeger, and Hunter is smoking like a giant like iceberg that he thinks is a crack rock. And Donald Trump is like eating a fillet of fish inside the Jaeger. And so it's just it's hitting itself in the face.
Like a hand, like he's got a McDonald's restaurant which has a lot of fillets, and he's just like smashing it against the head of it. Why isn't this thing working? It was made in America, the greatest country ever to exist.
There's that thing in Pacific Rim where like if you're not like a perfect match or something, there's some kind of like, I don't know, like it breaks your brain, right? If
feedback.
Yeah, if there's a problem with like the other person. So like I'm just imagining like how how much crack Hunter Biden would have to smoke in order to like meet, just the decayed mind state of Joe Biden, like his father's, how much crack cocaine he would have to ingest in order
That'd be
to
funny,
mesh with that sort of just rotten brain.
that would be interesting because out of all 4 people in this contest, he would have to be in the training program. He's like, all right, you got to smoke as much crack as you can. And then the next day, you have to smoke even more. And then the day after, you have to smoke even more without ODing. Are you up for the challenge?
He's just
training montage.
He's doing burpees with with a crack pipe in his mouth. Yes. And Joe Biden's like, listen here, Jack. Joe Biden physically assaults his own son because he's gone into a fugue, an aggressive fugue state where he's just strangling his son because he woke up and doesn't recognize his face, so he's just choking the life out of him. See, that's basically the, I don't know, absurd physical manifestation of what these debates are going to be like.
That's why I want to watch it so bad.
But how even are they going to do them? Over Zoom?
Yeah.
That's
They probably will. If they do them, it will be over Zoom.
No, they're not going to do that. Donald Trump's not going to do shit over Zoom. Are you kidding me? No way. No goddamn way. And what they're both gonna here's what would actually happen in that scenario. You put them in a Jaeger and they both go to China and just start stomping people.
Yeah.
To prove who's tougher.
Who's tougher.
Yeah.
I can smash this building way better than you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be funny if they got injected with some sort of mutagen and then they grew and became kaiju monsters and then fought each other.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, they basically are. They're just small versions.
They're just old men versions.
Just skin falling off.
Leathery skin.
Yeah, and absurd. One is absurdly large for his stature.
He's gonna topple over.
Right, he has
standing.
just strange, distorted, painful-looking body posture, and the other is just this shriveled, empty husk, corpse-like man.
Sleepy Joe.
So Joe Biden will probably be some sort of gnarly insect monster, and Donald Trump will be some
a
sort
stick
of
bug.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, Joe Biden would be like a mutated flamingo, maybe.
Yeah. With insect features.
Yeah, like a stick bug mixed with a flamingo. And Donald Trump would be like a blowfish mixed with
a June bug.
What?
I don't know. They're big bugs and they freak me out.
All bugs freak you out.
Well, true, but June bugs are one of the especially.
You've
ones.
probably cried because a ladybug landed on
I have. I'm admitting that now.
Jesus Christ, man.
Okay,
what are you gonna do on Earth?
The ladybugs that we have around here bite. They're not actual ladybugs. I forget what they're called, but they do bite, and I have gotten bitten by one.
The ladybugs we have around here.
I'm just saying, I've been.
What are you gonna do when the murder hornets come around, man?
I'm gonna stay inside.
You're what?
Fake news. Fake news. I ain't afraid of no murder hornets.
I am.
Whatever.
You know what? The bigger they are, the easier they're to kill. The way I look at them.
They're all absurdly
The thing
easy
that I
to
don't like
kill.
about killing big bugs is the crunch is louder, and it's just ugh.
They're all ridiculously easy to kill.
No.
Yeah. I I'm a roofer. I work on roofs all the time. I am constantly swarmed by bees and wasps and all sorts of stinging things. I literally, you take your t-shirt and you just smack them out of the air. It's incredible, and you feel powerful. Because what purpose do these creatures serve?
Right?
And they like kill bees and stuff. Like, bees have a point.
Yeah, bees have a purpose, but wasps?
Wasps are the capitalist class of the, like, pollinator. Bees are... go ahead.
They follow you around. Wasps.
They're mean.
They don't follow me around. I eat them. Gotta get in the bloodstream. Get some of that wasp venom in the bloodstream. Then they just think you're a big one, and then you can command them.
Sometimes I'm complimented when a bee lands on me because he thinks I'm a flower. Probably.
Yeah. Complimented is exactly...
That is like the softest thing I've ever heard you say.
Yeah, no. I'm just thinking about, like, your heart exploding in your chest from
I
the
am
panic
simultaneously, like, dying inside. But I'm like, oh, he thinks I'm a flower, but I'm not a flower. Get away from me.
And then you're like, oh, that's a beetle.
And I'm still freaking out.
Yeah. And then you have a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
We're talking about a kaiju or Jaeger fight between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Yep. I wish. I just want the debates, but if we can't have the debates, then I want the monster fight. Let's do it. Joe Biden's got the ends with DuPont. Make it happen, Captain. If you were a real man, Joe Biden, I know you're listening. I know you are. Listen here, Jack. If you were a real man, you would do it.
Don't think about it. Do it.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, you're going to lose it completely. So just do it.
Mm-hmm. You sponsor it, all their credit card company buddies and whatever, bankers could sponsor it. It'd be great. Put it on TV. I mean, we might as well get some actual spectacle out of this.
Seriously.
such a piss poor, like, replacement for spectacle. We might as well have some fun. They should like, I don't know, do like sword dancing or something. That would be great.
Yeah. I was thinking like more of a realistic thing. They just like take their shirts off. We see their pathetic bodies, and then they start like awkwardly wrestling each other. And it's like, oh, really throw a weapon in there or something? This is weird.
Donald Trump has like the Iron Man reactor in his chest. You're like, oh shit. Oh.
That's how he can consume so much McDonald's.
He's definitely gonna run. Yeah, that's what he uses it for, though. Remember? Okay, so in the first Iron Man, right, after he gets captured by, like, vaguely, I don't know, like vaguely, I don't know who they're trying to project that, like, pseudo-racism that, like, Marvel loves to do. On, like, who are the bad guys in that? Anyway.
Well, because comic books, a lot of these characters were created in different decades. He originally came out in the 60s, I believe, so I believe there was like Vietnamese bad guys or something like that.
Vietnamese captured Iron Man? Yeah.
And then because they're making the movie in 2008, I think they were trying to do
like the Taliban.
Al-Qaeda or the Taliban or something.
Yeah. It'd be more likely, like, I don't know. I guess in the end, anyway, it was like just capitalist bullshit. Because then you have what's his name? He's like, give me the technology. The Big Lebowski. Yeah. The dude. He is very undude in that movie.
Well, that showed his range, I think.
Yeah.
Because he went from the dude to anti-dude.
Just razor your head and have a beard. And then just attack. But anyway, so he gets back from surviving his capture. And he's like, take me to Burger King. So
and that was with the homemade arc reactor.
Yeah.
He hadn't even perfected the technology and put the new one in yet. Right. So who knows how many more burgers he could have eaten.
He's just like us. That's the funny thing, right? Is like these like hyper wealthy people, they like murder and corrupt and do all this terrible shit to like get unimaginable wealth, and what they do with it is like the dumbest shit ever. Yeah. Like I would build like a mech suit or have a fucking legitimate spaceship or something, like not some bullshit Elon Musk thing that couldn't land and turn sideways. But I would do some fun stuff with it, and I would, if the story came out today, it would be like Newsweek. It would be like Donald Trump is Iron Man. He has an arc reactor in his chest. But he uses it because his heart died 14 years ago.
From all the McDonald's.
While he was eating a triple-decker fillet of fish. It's the arc reactor and switching to Diet Coke.
It's really the only explanation.
Keeps him rolling. Yeah, that's why he can't drink.
Yep, because they haven't built an arc reactor for the liver. But the Diet Coke powers the arc reactor.
Right, exactly. It's the aspartame. Yeah. Right, because you don't metabolize it, right? So it's got to get out somehow. You pee out some of it, and the rest of it just powers that arc reactor. And that's why sometimes he's like,
he looks like he's gonna start tipping over the podium.
Yeah. And another time,
made him a Diet Coke.
He's like, ah! And then it's like,
they come up with a syringe, like an EpiPen, and just shoot him in the ass with Diet Coke.
In his head, it's like, I am Iron Man. Or some stupid AC/DC song. American culture. Fake, white, bougie, white people culture. That's not even AC/DC is British. Anyway, I don't like him. But yeah, Donald Trump is probably Iron Man. And a bastard like Iron Man. And that's why Captain America is the libs. He's
yes.
He's I guess he's Joe Biden.
I was about to bring that up. See, Joe Biden is under the impression that he took super soldier serum way back when, and physical conditioning, even though his brain just rotting away.
You know, Joe Biden at like 17 years old, he's like 4'11" and 90 pounds. You see, I can take the suit. Listen, listen, kids. Listen here, Jack. Let me tell you. They put me in a chamber and fed me the super soldier serum so I could be a lifeguard in Delaware. And that's why Corn Pop came up to me. He was like, "Do something about it." ripped a chain and threatened him with it.
Then I lifted it up 3 feet in the air.
He's like a pedophile, allegedly. Captain America. Captain America got a little handsy. He's a little awkward. But he's like, because of like the continuity, right? Captain America then goes back and he's like, I'm not going to do the Captain America stuff. I'm going to become an old man and live out my days. If you've seen whatever Endgame, whatever it was, it's basically Joe Biden. He's just like awful, and he like doesn't get cultural references, and he's like a douchebag about everything.
He's always like sniffing people.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable.
This is where he and Captain America differ, is he doesn't want a shield. Because he wants to get close.
He wants to get as close to you as he can.
Joe Biden might be, Red Skull?
Maybe.
He looks like him.
Yeah, he's definitely turning into him for sure.
He looks like Hugo Weaving's skull. That's
with some paper skin on it.
Yeah.
It's like falling off.
And his campaign is basically like, you're like the Democratic donor class is Thanos, and wow, I'm just trying to remember how we got here. The Democratic donor class is Thanos. Joe Biden is Red Skull, and we are what's her name? The green gal.
Oh,
Gamora. Yeah, we are Gamora. And he's like, and the donor class is like, I'm sorry. And they just push her. You have to sacrifice something you love. and then after he loses the election, they're like, did you do it? And he's like, no. What did it cost? Everything. I'm so fucking sunburned. Everything hurts. My ears are like fried chicken, man. They're crispy. They're extra crispy. They hurt.
You look a little red.
Yes. Working on a roof sucks. I don't recommend it. But all jobs suck. So, alienated labor is never going to be fun. That's why we have, like, alcohol and marijuana. For the most part. Yeah. I don't want to rehash it, but I do love the idea that, like, if the arc reactor existed, Donald Trump would absolutely get it installed just so he could keep eating McDonald's with no consequences. Like, oh, you can fly around and stuff and whatever, and he'd be like, nah, I'm fine.
I just want McDonald's.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
How many filet of fishes did you order?
Yeah, now I can just eat them really fast.
And his wife's just sitting there, like, murdering him with her eyes the whole time.
Pepper
We
pots.
do apparently have the Metallo technology, because that's how Dick Cheney stayed alive.
Yeah.
His kryptonite heart.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, he was the forerunner of the arc reactor technology. Because he actually never had a heart.
It's true.
Yeah. He paid someone to always just physically pump his blood for him. He was just always getting CPR. That's why you never see him, you know, from like the shoulders down. Go back and look at the videos. I bet you can't find one. Pre-heart attack. Who's your favorite war criminal?
Who's my favorite war criminal?
we need to start a thing with like unanswerable questions. I'm trying to. You know how in Iraq, during the Iraq War, they did the playing cards with like the 52 most wanted. You know, it was like, I don't know, like.
Oh right, and then because we were involved with that, Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein like shot up the list.
No, like they issued a deck of playing cards to every enlisted man, so they could like identify them, I guess, because you would just always have them on them, I guess.
Yeah.
But so there were like, I don't know, 50 different Al Qaeda, 50 different like terrorists. I don't know. I put that in quotes, but. There are 52 different people, each for a different card, and it would be like, I don't know. I'm sure we could look it up and see who was the Queen of Hearts.
All I'm getting is like, remember in Addams Family Values when they're trading serial killer cards? That's all I'm picturing, just like a bunch of army dudes sitting around like, oh, I've got I'll trade you for blah, 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 blah.
Well, in a sense, what I would like to see is the American imperialism version of that. It would be George Bush is like the ace of spades. Dick Cheney is like the ace of, I don't know, clubs maybe. Like the whole Bush administration, I guess, is the ace of spades. You don't need to like disaggregate any of that. You don't need to separate it. Just like, bye-bye. I'm trying to. Anyway, I want to. If anyone has any suggestions who should be on the American version, I think it would be funny.
Well, I don't know why, but my mind immediately went to Klaus Barbie.
He was German.
Maybe because I did a report on him in whatever grade, but he's a war criminal.
You're supposed to reject the premise. You're not supposed to politely consider it.
But then we started talking about it.
I don't know. I guess the butcher. You're a good man. Yeah, that's that improv, man. It's like, yes, and I don't care how ridiculous the premise is. I'm going to engage. I like it. Trying to. If I have to answer the question seriously, I'll need to seriously consider
it. There is a lot to choose from.
Maybe Stalin.
George Washington.
Yeah, he was boring. This is just yet again another like SCD ravaged mind.
Yeah.
Who was just like an insane asshole. And like all he wanted was like, I don't know, what even were his motivators? Like, it's weird to think of. It's weird considering like how like I don't know, like what even was luxury in like 1780? Like you're probably shitting outside still. Even
Right,
if
but
you're
you're
Jewish.
shitting in an outhouse as opposed to like on a stump or something.
I'd rather shit on the stump. I find it liberating. We need to be able to like transport these people to modern times and then judge them.
Are you suggesting we get a telephone booth and we travel back in
Yes.
time, bring back
Yes.
a bunch of historical
Yes.
figures?
The Claw Excellent Adventures. The Claw's Excellent Adventures. And it ultimately culminates with us having just a radical adventure with death.
That's gonna be a bogus journey.
It would be bogus. It would be a bogus journey. But ultimately, we would learn a lot about ourselves and about life.
And then we will face the music.
You know what? Like a guilty pleasure bad movie I watched the other night was Drive Angry. Because it's like so terrible, it's good.
Those.
It just like it does not give one single fuck.
Yeah.
They definitely never did like test screenings or anything like that. They were just like, it was just one dude. He wrote it up. He had a bunch of money that he just like threw at a wall basically, and some of it hit Nick Cage. And they're just like, fuck it, run it. And like pre-Aquaman Amber Heard.
I think that might have been pre-Ward Amber Heard as well.
Pre what?
The Ward.
The Ward. I don't know that one.
Sounds
it was a horror movie John Carpenter did. Amber Heard stars in it. I think it's Amber Heard.
Is
Sounds
it about?
Familiar, but
is it about Leave It to Beaver?
There was a guy named Beaver there. I don't think Ward was there.
Ward Cleaver. You got any? We'll wrap this up here in a minute, but you got any recommendations while folks are still stuck in the old house or trying to unwind from the stress of being a underpaid essential worker?
I kind of don't have anything. I watched this movie called Better Watch Out, which was kind of an interesting twist, but
is it like a Santa movie? Is it like a Santa movie?
Well, it takes place around the holidays.
Is that the one where Goldberg is Santa?
Like the babysitter or the lodge.
Okay.
In the sense that, babysitter is being stalked by somebody.
Yeah.
But, watch if you want. I don't give a shit. I've been watching Peaky Blinders, which I highly recommend that.
Yes. Peaky Blinders is good. It has some relatively good, as far as like, I don't know, like gangster type, organized crime type things. It has relatively decent, plot lines. It's excellent. I like Tom Hardy in that.
Yeah.
It's quite good. I like Arthur. He just like in between like having religious experiences and crying about the war, the Great War. He's just like doing cocaine, banging chicks, and just fighting anyone in front of him.
Right, and he's got a very interesting arc. You're correct about that. Especially, when he actually gets married, has a child, and goes out to the fucking boonies to live on a farm.
Yeah.
but then comes back to it, full throttle,
Yeah,
all the cocaine he could sniff.
yeah. No, he's interesting for sure. They always get like lame people to be like the bad guy though. Like I thought Sam Neill is it in the first two
Yeah,
seasons?
yeah. In the first season, he was the inspector.
Right. I think Sam Neill did a good job there, but I think they have like Adrian Brody is
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
that Italian mobster that was
yeah,
out for
it
revenge.
was just it didn't work for me.
I
Um,
can believe he's Italian though.
well, but like I don't know if it's that everybody else in the show is so good at what they're doing that it just kind of like whatever. But or like I can't think of anything I genuinely like Adrian Brody in anyway.
Yeah.
And then you also have I can't think of his name, but he's like the bad guy in like the second or third season. He's like Italian mob rival. Um, I can't think of his name. Anyway,
Oh yeah. I forgot his name. I forgot his name as well. But interestingly enough, he played Hitler on Preacher.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what I was seeing the entire time. He was talking with this ridiculous Italian accent, and I'm just like picturing like, why is Hitler talking Italian accent?
Uh-huh. They certainly had their moments with the fash. Um, I think it's interesting how in the much later seasons, maybe it's the last season that aired, they get into like Thomas Shelby is like in the Socialist Party essentially, um, as a MP, and
Yeah, that's right.
a a literal fascist. You see the rise. Well, before I get off on that, like they do a good job of painting Winston Churchill as just what an utter piece of shit he was.
Right.
They
I loved that.
right.
That was like, oh, finally, a Winston Churchill I could get behind
Right.
and whoop his ass.
I think
if
it's
you will.
hard to like display the totality of just how awful of a human being he was, but like they approach the point for sure. But then you see
Yeah.
that kind of rise of fascism, and this opportunist try to align himself with that. So that's what's interesting. Plus, like, you know, these decades in parts of the industrial world are so full of like working class struggle and stuff like that. I'd like to see some more honest depictions of like American working class struggles like that. So that would be cool. I don't think Peaky Blinders is super historically accurate, but it is a very entertaining show.
It's worth watching
for sure. It's good. It's good. It's worth it, and it's like violent. Just warning. It's violent. But no, it's good. I don't know. It's peak Tom Hardy probably. Even though they underutilize him, for sure. But yeah, I guess you can watch The Lodge, but don't talk about it on Facebook.
They don't like that.
You'll get zucked. I'm trying. I want to watch Demolition Man, but I need it to be on a night when I have the time to spend with it and I'm not distracted. So we will hook that up at some point. Because that's a good movie. I'm trying to think. until I went back to work, we watched like a lot of kids movies.
Yeah.
With the not because I'm a weirdo, because I have a kid. So just a lot of kids movies, which is like whatever. that Robert Downey Jr. Doolittle one is terrible. It's terrible.
That was awful.
It was terrible.
We did watch
The Call of the Wild was decent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was good.
That was alright. But it was just like, it totally exploits that, like, I don't know, that dog lover.
Yeah.
It's just like, who's a good boy? The whole time, you know? It just exploits that.
Yeah.
But at least they used, I believe, at least for the entirety of it, they used a CGI dog instead of, like, you know, like, beating a dog to make it jump into ice cold water or something to get a shot. Like apparently happens quite a bit on some of these movie sets. And not super nice to him. Yeah. My kid basically just wants to watch the same 5 movies over and over and over.
And it's not even like the movie, it's like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then he wants another one.
Yeah, that new Addams Family is like
he's making his own movie.
Right. And it's crazy. Like
the Addams Family is bourgeois as fuck.
Well, beyond that, it's a like everything is a we live in a society movie now. Yeah. Everything all movies now are like the Joker. Everything has to like have some sort of like cultural agenda to be like,
yeah,
you can't just be entertaining for a minute. It has to be like, remember, you know, it has to present you with like at least shades of the awful world you already exist in every single day.
You're not allowed to forget.
Which is great under some circumstances when it's done right, but like, oh my god, it's just every single movie. Every single movie. It's a little much.
Reel it in.
Yeah, for real. Seriously. But yeah. I'm just trying to get through the day, man. Anyway, alright. Well, we're going to sign off here. But if you stuck around, thanks. If you didn't, go to hell. Final words? No, you don't even get final words. Bye-bye.
Silent treatment.